It's release day and you've just released your song, your reel, or your painting. And then the minute it's published, an invisible timer starts in your head. You rush to your social media page and press refresh. Compare your likes and shares and then repeat the process. The promise of the internet era was of one that would finally empower its creatives. No gatekeepers, no middlemen, just you and your audience. Instead, we've ended up trapped in a machine that constantly needs more from us. And the more we give, the lesser we seem to have left. In today's video, I'm going to try and understand why artists today are more anxious than ever and why it might not be their fault. Chapter 1: Passion turned trap. The funny thing about creative careers is what they are and what they appear to be are two completely separate things. We grow up believing that art is sacred, that passion comes from a pure and beautiful place. That being a real artist means not caring about money and all we really need is meaning and connection. Then life hits us with a cold, hard reality that it runs on quantitative measurements, not qualitative ones. It runs on data, metrics, efficiency, repeatable, scalable patterns. There are definitions only for what we can measure. And as a society, we really don't have a way of measuring the unquantifiable, the subjective, the personal, which is squarely where art sits. And this is the absolute contradiction we are stuck right in the middle of. Society romanticizes the everything for art ethos, and because we're a part of society, so do we. And then unwittingly, we end up being exploited. Throughout our artistic journey, we are told to do it for the opportunity, to do it for the exposure, to do it because it's meaningful. And we do, over and over again. And we never quite seem to balance how much we give versus how much we get. Because honestly, we care about our work. It's our dream job. Anything to get it out there, right? Passion becomes a perfect form of cheap labor and you're exploited over and over again. So you try and turn the tides in your favor. You wake up and try to charge fairly. Then you're told you've sold out. If you protect your time, you're difficult. To be seen as your authentic self, you have to pretend like money doesn't matter and the lights keep themselves on automatically. And this is the double-sided trap that most of us artists and creative professionals find ourselves in. We end up living two realities. One part of us that creates purely for love, and the other part which is constantly posting, pitching, and packaging ourselves to just stay visible. That split between what you feel and what you have to perform is where I think the anxiety starts. Artists are asked to be two people at once, one for the heart, one for the kitchen, and rarely do they overlap. Chapter 2: Performing for the Machine. The promise of the internet was freedom. But the platforms that promised freedom became cages dressed up as opportunity. Social media is built on comparison and now you're competing with everybody. Every time you open it, you see someone's highlight reel. The festival they just played, the gallery opening they were at, and your brain slowly starts keeping score. Over the last few years, vanity metrics have seemingly started to represent our self-worth, and the companies know it, which is why your likes, comments, shares, monthly listeners are all kept visible, to constantly keep you on edge and to constantly keep you posting. You tell yourself that you're just promoting your work. But slowly, in the irony of all ironies, the promotion starts to become your work. Slowly you start noticing that creating for the feed actually rewards you more with likes, follows, and shares. So you start creating for it rather than yourself. Shorter, louder, and just when you think you figured this whole social media thing out, the rules change. Your reach drops, your engagement dies, your self-worth drops again, and you're praying to an invisible algorithm god. And you do that over and over, rather than trying to create your best work. And then, while you're in the middle of all of this, the companies whose platforms you were supposed to promote your work in start pushing AI. So now you're not only competing with humans, you're also competing with artificial intelligence. This is the point when I think our anxiety jumped from psychological to existential. Goldman Sachs recently released a report that a quarter of all creative tasks can now be automated. And while I'll take anything that banks say with a grain of salt, life suddenly started feeling like this was true. Like all the odds are stacked against you. It was already a steep slope, but suddenly it started feeling vertical. Suddenly artists all over the world are sitting and wondering, what is the point of human creativity at all? Possibly the most beautiful part about being human. And yet, even after knowing all of this, We don't stop, we keep running. We create our work and also record the performance of creating our work. Real fun stuff. Chapter 3. Seen by everyone, known by no one. Life truly has a sense of irony and sarcasm comparable to none. We are more visible than any generation of artists in history. A single post can reach millions. But every time you feel that your visibility is increasing, the price of visibility seems to go down. You can go viral and still not make rent, and slowly you realize that attention doesn't translate to value. The only value it generates is for the platform hosting you. But the machine must work, and so do you. You adapt. You build a brand out of your personality. Instead of creating, you start documenting, with your life acting as the portfolio. And slowly every artist ends up living like a marketing department. Always online, always visible. Because somewhere in this endless game of keep up or you'll fall off, you've started to forget why you did this in the first place. And the platforms play into this insecurity that every artist has. The desire to be seen and heard. How did you think that you wouldn't end up anxious, playing by the machine's rules? Chapter 4. Making art to stay alive. Okay, so first let's take a breath. There is no playbook for dealing with this because the last 15 years have just been a sea of change after another. Always brutal and always displacing the ground beneath our feet. Of course, artists are anxious. In fact, of course, most of us are anxious. We're all in the same constantly rocking boat where the rules seem to change at whim and fancy. The question then becomes that how do we live without losing ourselves in this endless game of keep up and pretend competition? I think remembering why we create and why we started to make art is super important. When we create something, our body resets, and it actually helps in reducing our anxiety. Playing keep up is what is increasing our anxiety, not art. Making art isn't about competition. It's not sport. Making art, or songs in my case, has to be fun and exciting and beautiful first. Everything else comes later. I think we must try and keep that part of our work, which is promotion, just that. Promotion. And I really think that marketing or promotion shouldn't dictate what we make, but may definitely be used at a later stage to present what we made. So please make first, share later. And we can't let the dopamine, always on comparison hamster wheel decide our self-worth. You are so much more than vanity metrics. Vanity has a corrosive effect on our psyche and it cannot be the reason why we get to work. Secondly, I feel we should stop living the dual life of the artist who pretends not to care about money while charging it anyway. Charge fairly, know your worth, and be fair while dealing with people on the outside as well as the voice inside. Don't overinflate your ego, but don't let people walk over you either. We have to find a middle ground. Just know your worth and stand by it. And lastly, I feel go deeper and purer in what can't be replicated, which is you, your story, your life experience have made you unreplicatable. And I think lean into it if you can. It may be the key to remembering who we are and why we do this in the first place. If you watched for so long, thank you so much. And please leave a comment and let me know how do you deal with this form of existential anxiety. As a musician myself, I love sharing my songs with you, and here's a song I made recently that I'm really proud of. And I'm excited to share that I'm coming out with new music very soon. And if you prefer more of these talking head style of videos, here is another video which I think you might like. If you liked or felt anything, please leave a comment. I would love to connect with you.